In the fall of 1995, after more than a year of unconstructive bargaining with the Kmart Corporation, the workers called for a boycott of Kmart until a fair contract could be attained. Many other people in Greensboro were ready to show their concern over low wages and mistreatment at the Kmart distribution center. The Pulpit Forum, a local group of African American clergy, had been involved with the workers' struggle for over a year. Now they called for community support of the boycott, and many of Greensboro's citizens answered the call.
The problem is this, that there must have been something about this community which suggested to Kmart that of all the places in the nation, it could come here, take up residence, and pay people less than any place else in the nation.
Now,
that community has a problem. What is it about Greensboro that would commend it to such a situation when these wages and these conditions are not adequate? If we didn't know that, and if we were not aware of it, then we should thank the Kmart workers for helping lift this reality before us so that we can solve it and make progress on it, and we can solve it.
And I represent the Friends of the Poor People's Organization, which is a group of middle-class white folks who are now looking to take our place at the table, so to speak, and say, we want to provide our support as well.
When we couldn't get any results from the company, after time and time again, and repeated efforts of trying to get some kind of consideration from the company to address the problem, they chose not to, and the problem just escalated. And it had gotten to the point where the workers just said enough. So if I have to be back out there looking for another job, so be it. It must be God's will. But as long as there's breath in me, and as long as I have a 13-year-old son, and I'm a single parent, and I want that child to have the best upbringing and the best chance of a good future that I can give him. And it's my duty and my obligation as his mother to provide the best that I can give him. And if that means going up against a giant such as the Kmart Corporation, then so be it. But I won't be standing alone.
Did you know that corporate America doesn't care no more about a working class white man than they do a black man? We've got to do this together.
We've got to believe that caring for families is more important than caring for the bottom line. That the bottom line will begin to take care of itself when we take care of one another, when we take care of every last single worker, when we take care of the resources of this world. Then we can pull out of that spiral, and we can do something with the resources we've been given, the knowledge, the know-how. We've got to do a new thing, folks.
I know that no one should work and be underpaid. There's no excuse for it. We have to stand up and change this. I worked many places, and I know I did good work for which I was not paid. And I can sympathize with you. I'm standing with you because I know your cause is worthy.
We're here to say wherever injustice happens to be, we shall stand there and stand until the day of judgment comes if necessary.
Clergy, church members, business people, students, teachers, other union members, and concerned citizens joined with the workers in peaceful, nonviolent demonstrations. From January through March, hundreds of citizens participated in rallies at the Super Kmart and downtown Greensboro, with more than 150 arrests for civil disobedience.
This is what the Lord requires. The Lord requires that we love justice, do mercy,
and walk humbly with our God. And I come today to tell you that we are standing for justice. And I tell you that there is some mercy and love for the people on Martin Luther King Street and for the Kmart workers. My brothers and sisters, we are doing a good thing. We are doing a right thing, and we'll keep on doing it until justice comes.
The clergy of the Pulpit Forum convened with local business leaders to provide a forum for discussing the community issues brought to light by the Kmart workers' struggle. Resisting the temptation to classify the dispute as simply racial, union, or labor versus management, the group persisted in finding ways to address the interests of the community at large.
We can't recruit businesses in order to take advantage of a low standard of living. We need to recruit businesses to help raise that standard of living.
Let's be serious. You don't have to have a solution. You have to have a commitment to find one. Although you were out there last year.
Yeah, well, 20
for a week.
for a week, that's right. It wasn't most of the guys in their 20s.
I shared before that I've worked in tobacco fields, but this was a very impactful visit for me. We were at a site that looked like about 100 people in living spaces that were hot, unsanitary. The bathrooms were extremely not good, and we were overcome with gnats. And John was saying on the way back that he'll be able to preach with more power and conviction the story of the gnats in Egypt. But here's what I want to say, that you kind of know these things, but there's nothing that substitute for seeing another person and another human being and connecting on that level with folk. It's a little bit more than a picture. Pictures are good, but to touch the flesh and to feel the spirit is what I felt today. And there was one place where a dear brother had put up over his bed a piece of plastic to protect himself. We thought from the water. It was wet up there, I could see that. But it was from the dust that falls down on them. We had, I thought, a wonderful conversation with about 15 people who shared freely and shared their own thinking. And one of the things that was said, that Carlton raised a question, and the question about, do you know there's something better than this? I was sensitive to the question itself. But the person said that this is the way it was, and this is the way it is. And what we believe, that God has called us to a work, and that once you see, you cannot claim an exemption. Once you see.
4 horas por día, 7 días a la semana. Cuando necesitan un apoyo o algo, pues tratamos de responder de una manera para apoyarlos.
I think we want to say to the brother who said there was no choice, that that we believe is the role of the Christian church and the role of the union to give them some choices for better conditions.
Dice el Señor que cuando contestaste que no te dan otro alternativo para hacer lo que te ofrecen, ¿verdad? Y que no tienes opciones. Dice que
May God provide this commission with the will, the insight, the vision, the sensitivity and caring to be that catalyst for truth, healing, and restorative justice in this community. What a blessed day.
On June 12, 2004,
Over 500 people gathered in Greensboro, North Carolina to witness the swearing in of the first Truth and Reconciliation Commission in the United States.
It is with great confidence in the people of Greensboro and in this citizen-led process that I charge you as Truth and Reconciliation Commissioners to carry out your work with honor, for much of the quality of the work you do will shape the quality of life in our city and beyond for years to come. God bless you.
I really did not fully appreciate the magnitude of the endeavor until I was standing in the room with all the people who came for the swearing in, and as I heard different representatives from the community in Greensboro talked about their hopes and their desires for us and for the truth and for reconciliation.
The installation of this commission was the culmination of nearly 5 years of work and planning by a group called the Greensboro Truth and Community Reconciliation Project. Initiated by survivors of a violent episode in Greensboro's past, guided by a National Advisory Board and the International Center for Transitional Justice, and propelled by the participation of a cross-section of Greensboro citizens called the Local Task Force, the project had crafted a selection process and a mandate for a commission independent of any external influence to examine the context, causes, sequence, and consequence of the events of November 3, 1979, and to issue a report to the Greensboro community.
When I first heard about the commission, I was excited about its potential for helping our community identify and heal some of the divisions that exist. And I realize a lot of folks in different parts of our community are not aware of those divisions or choose to believe they don't exist. But in my work dealing with racism and diversity and cultural conflict, I see every day evidence of those divisions.
On November 3, 1979, on a bright Saturday morning, a group of labor organizers assembled in Morningside Homes, a predominantly black housing project in Greensboro, for an educational conference and an anti-Klan march with the prominent slogan, "Death to the Klan." A caravan of 9 cars carrying Klan and American Nazi Party members drove to Greensboro to disrupt the march. As the caravan reached the housing project, words were exchanged and a confrontation ensued. The Klan and Nazis took guns from their cars and opened fire on the crowd. Five people were killed. 10 others were wounded. Police did not arrive on the scene until several minutes after the shooting stopped, but news crews and photographers captured the event on film and videotape, and the images from Greensboro were soon broadcast around the world. In the state and federal trials that followed, 2 all-white juries found the Klan and Nazi members not guilty of any crimes. In 1985, a civil suit filed by the relatives of those killed on November 3rd was resolved with the finding that the Greensboro Police Department and members of the Klan and Nazi organizations were jointly liable for the wrongful death of one of the march participants. With a painful collective memory of tragic violence, Greensboro would sometimes prefer to leave the events of November 3, 1979, out of the telling of the city's proud history. The Greensboro Project is drawing inspiration and guidance from a number of truth and reconciliation processes around the world, the best known of which is South Africa.
You are going to be a crippled community, whether you like it or not. You are going to be a crippled community as long as you refuse to face up to your past.
A press conference